Hi, I'm Blaise Hope at the World Economic Forum, and with me is Hans-Paul Birkner, the Global Chairman of the Boston Consulting Group. Thanks for joining us. You're also one of the co-chairs of this meeting, and the theme is anchoring trust in Southeast Asia. How is trust going in Indonesia?
Well, I think, trust is the outcome. It's the result of many activities from the various stakeholders. And I think what we've seen over the last 15, 20 years in Indonesia has been a remarkable positive development. And so I would say we are on a good path. Of course, there's still a lot to do between the private and the public sector, between the general public and public institutions. But I think in general, we are on a good path.
Do you think there's enough harmonization going on in between institutions, or is that a weak spot?
Well, I think what does harmonization mean? I think what is very important is that we create a level playing field, that we have openness of the economy, the society, so that everybody can participate, and that there is the rule of law, so that people really know that they play by the same rules. And if somebody does not, you can go to the court, you can get a fair ruling. And I think that needs to continue to develop, not just here in Indonesia, but around the world.
Well, let's talk a bit more about rule of law. What issues do you see here right now and within the wider ASEAN community?
Well, I think the key element, and obviously the different countries in Southeast Asia are at very different stages. I think we need to strengthen the role of courts. We have to strengthen their independence. We have to make sure that people can really challenge the government, and government can challenge private players, and then get rulings according to the law. And I think there is still a lot of skepticism whether the rulings are fair, whether individuals, especially when you are a small private enterprise, small medium enterprise, really challenge bigger enterprises or challenge government institutions. I think there a lot of progress can still be made, but I think we have seen enormous progress over the last 15, 20 years, as I said before.
Do you see Indonesia as being in another age of reformation? You said it improved over the last 15, 20 years. Does it look good going forward? Or?
No, absolutely. I think there is a lot of expectation, of course, with the new government, with President Jokowi. I think people really hope that Indonesia will take the next step. I think also the Asian economic community, I think, creates a lot of expectations, certainly from outside the region, but also within the region. I think the more the countries open up to each other, the more they provide opportunities for each other, I think the more the whole region can benefit. It can be really a win-win. Now, I know that people are worried about what happens to special positions, maybe small farmers, small businesses. Will we be able to compete with competitors coming from other countries from the region, or even from multinationals? And people try to predict who will be the winners, who will be the losers. I think the experience shows from the past that it's very difficult to predict the winners. I remember discussions before NAFTA was established, the North American Treaty Organization between US, Canada and Mexico. Many people in Mexico were very worried. We have no chance against the US. And who has been the main beneficiary? It has been Mexico. I remember when Spain entered the European Union, there was a lot of worries about Spanish companies not being able to compete. And actually, it was an enormous boost for growth, for economic development in Spain when they joined the European Union, even though initially, of course, there were some frictions and some initial challenges.
Well, you speak about leveling the playing field, and will there be losers?
Well, I think people have to change. I think when there is more openness, more competition, there will be, of course, some people who will lose, but it's very difficult to predict who that will be up front. I think it's very important that people see the opportunity to change, also see the need to change, and if they do so, they can really benefit from this, and everybody can benefit. So it can be really a win-win, rather than some will lose big and some will gain big. I think the issue really is to make sure that people do try to live up to the challenges, make necessary changes, become competitive, and therefore I think raise the level of effectiveness and efficiency of the whole economy and the whole region.
How can you pursue this in such a way that it doesn't just benefit conglomerates that already have the ability to reach beyond their borders and make sure that small businesses are getting it too, because conglomerates are extremely powerful.
Well, I think that the key element is that the conglomerates, the big companies, usually benefit from heavy regulation.
Okay.
Because they have the departments, they have the lawyers, they have the specialists to address those regulations. Whereas regulations, whether it's on the environment, whether it's on special processes, really hurt the small and mid-sized companies because they don't have the capability to deal with it. That's why I think deregulation, opening up level playing field really benefits much more the small and mid-sized companies than the big ones, because the big ones have been in a position to deal with the challenges anyway. For them, closed borders can be overcome. For the small and mid-sized companies, that was always very difficult.
If you've got a situation where something like a volatile rupiah brings, protectionist sympathies into power, I mean, is it not possible that there could be some serious shocks to an economy by suddenly facing outside competition? Is there any credence to that?
Well, I'm sure also in the ASEAN economic community there are transition periods. But I think if you want to protect certain areas, like in the European Union, agriculture was a big area for protection, and it meant that in many places agriculture was not very productive, and you really slowed down the increase in productivity. And so I think one needs to be very thoughtful. Protecting the status quo usually means lower efficiency, actually lower productivity, and lower standard of living. And so I think an important element of this opening up really is about creating the pressure for increasing productivity.
Okay, well, let me hold you there. We've got to go to break, but we'll be right back in just a minute with Hans-Paul Birkner from Boston Consulting Group.